Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of My Better Living. This is Nurse Shar, and I'm back with another episode. I'm going to get my applause button going so that I can give myself a round of applause for making it back to you. Right now, I am streaming live on My Better Living Facebook page, Power Plug Radio Facebook page, and also My Better Living YouTube page. So there's no excuse not to catch any of the discussion, any of the topics. Tonight, we're doing some catch up. If you are watching live, if you are listening live, and you want to join the conversation, send me a comment. Invite a friend, link a friend, share this so that we can get some great conversation going. If you want to join in the conversation and tell me, how you've been doing and get caught up with you and see what's going on with you, you just let me know. Shoot me a comment, shoot me a text if you know me personally, and let me know. Say, hey, I want to join the conversation. I want to let the people know what I've been up to. So in the meantime, again, shout out to Power Plug Radio for opening up this platform. You can catch My Better Living every Monday starting at 7:30. Yeah, we're going to give it to you early. Mondays are really good days for motivation. Mondays are great days for people like to start over on Mondays. People like to start anew on Mondays. And Mondays just seem to be that time that people really want to gear up to do something special for the week. And so every Monday at 7:30, you can tune in right here with me, Nurse Shar. I'm going to have special guests. We're going to do some food reviews. We're going to do some product reviews. Really anything that's really going to help motivate you and keep you on your journey to health and wellness. And of course, we're going to have some real discussions as always. We're going to keep it really honest, as always, and we're just going to help each other along the way. So I started this. I'm always starting something new, right? So my latest segment that I'm adding to the list of wonderfuls is the motivational quote section. So I have wonderful social media friends, and a lot of people will say that, they find social media to be a little bit toxic and, people have to take time off social media. Honestly and truthfully, I can say that I think I follow some of the most motivational people, and maybe that's just what I subscribe to. Maybe that's my algorithm, but I get a lot of great great things that come across my timeline. Some of them are really funny. Some of them are really educational, very informative, and I gotta say, I'm not at all upset with what people are doing and what they're saying on my socials. Again, that might be my algorithm. I kind of like to stay away from anything too, what's the word now, low vibrational. So I like to keep it positive, and I like to keep it motivating. So, my two motivational quotes for this week from two of my Facebook friends. They might be your Facebook friends too. If not, I'm sure you can look it up. And this one is from Miss Angela Sutton. Hey, Angie, doing her thing. She says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but start over as many times as you need to. I got to get that applause button. I'm going to say that again. I don't know who needs to hear this, but start over as many times as you need to. And I shared that from Angie. And honestly and truthfully, I 100% unite with that, believe in that. A lot of times we like to hold ourselves sort of crippled to, well, it wasn't done then, it wasn't done in time, and sometimes you got to give yourself a little grace and mercy to start over and give yourself an ability to complete the task, to complete whatever it is that you started, or to do something better. And so Angie says, it's okay to start over as many times as you need to. Excellent. My next motivational quote comes from Louis Stevens Jr. Many of you who are in the local Tampa Bay area may know him. He says, they're gonna think you fell off the whole time you loading up. Again, they're gonna think you fell off whole time you loading up. I love that. Like, I wanted to shout like amen when I read that, literally, because a lot of times um we take a lot of stock in what people think, and we take a lot of stock in movement and progression, and sometimes slow progression is progression. Sometimes making small moves are moves, and you can't really go on anybody else's timeline but your own. You got to have to make it yours, and do things in your own time. So I like that. The whole time you loading up, the whole time you're doing what you need to do, and what you want to do for yourself. um, for those of you who have been following My Better Living and joining the podcast, we have a whole new platform. So if you're watching live, you probably see a whole new set, a whole new feel, a whole new vibe. So we're gonna keep that moving, and try to bring some bigger and better things. So a lot of people are asking me, "Well, Shar, where have you been? What have you been doing? What's going on?" You kind of wasn't with us for like a hot second. So it's catch up time, right? And so the last time I saw you guys was probably a couple months ago. I've spent most of summer 2022 finishing my Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I graduated in August, and then I quit my job after 18 years. I really got to get some sound effects so we can really boost this thing up. But yeah, after 18 years, um, working with the job that I was working, in the career that I was in, I said goodbye and I walked away. And honestly and truthfully, it was a very tough decision to make, but a very necessary decision that I had to make. I am now working from home, and um, working more for myself. And, so when I look at the last couple months has really been a theme of change. And I think that, those two quotes that I read really summed up how I was feeling. It's never easy to make a change, especially when you're talking about career changes, changes that really change the structure of your everyday and how you do things. When you're used to getting up and going to a certain place, or doing a certain thing in a certain kind of way, um, getting out of that routine takes some time. And, I talk a lot about that in my YouTube videos. Go back and look at some of those old YouTube videos where we talk about just making changes. Of course, they may be related to weight loss, but I think all change is the same. Whenever you've been doing something for a really long time, deviating from that, turning away from that, going in a different direction than that is always going to be hard. It's always going to be something that you may not be 100% ready for. And I can say that, leaving um, the job and the career that I was in after 18 years was a very tough decision. It was one that I gave a considerable amount of thought to. And but it was one again that I think that I needed in order for me to grow, in order for me to stretch who I am. After a while I started realizing that there was a lot that I was interested in, and that there were more things than what was directly in front of me that could be my future, or could be um something that I delved into, and I would never know the outcomes of that if I never tried. And so I say that to say that, sometimes, well, a lot of times change can be good. Um, Good changes, bad changes, they always create a certain level of stress. Um, but change can be really good, and change can be really healthy, especially if it's the change is towards a healthier lifestyle. Sometimes, the change may be for your mental health. It could be for your work life balance. I definitely think that after COVID, we've seen sort of a different work environment for people. We've seen a different sort of need and want, that people organically just need and want different things in order to make it through this journey that we call life. So at the end of the day, um where have I been? I've literally been changing, and getting out of one old routine into a next, and then trying to incorporate some of my um you know enjoyments and pleasures in there. So, we're back on track, right? We're back in it. Take some time, but once you make that change, and once you shift doing some things, as long as it's moving you in a positive direction, as long as it's moving you in the direction that you ultimately want to be in, that's something to be celebrated. And it's okay, like Angela said, to start over as many times as you need to, and to realize that you're still loading up. And that's how I feel. It's the holiday time, so I wanted to make sure that I came back and rode out 2022 with you. So I want to know what you've been up to. So if you're listening, or if you're watching right now, drop me a line, drop me a text, and let me know. Drop me a comment what you've been up to the last quarter. We are now in the last quarter of the year. We have about less than, I think, 8 weeks until 2022. And now's the time for people to look back and see, what have I done for 2022. Did I accomplish those things that I wanted to accomplish for 2022? What is 2023 gonna look like for me? And I will say that if you find yourself in November and you are like, well, I really haven't accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish, um, don't beat yourself up. Remember what Angie says, it's okay to start over as many times as you need to. um, things happen, life happens, we get sidetracked, things come into our life, changes happen, and we have to adapt. So it's okay if you didn't check off every single thing off your list for 2022. Did you check off something? And if you haven't, there's still time. So we are now in November. We're heading to December. I took some time off, just to kind of make my transition and change. So, what did you take time off to do? Where are you going? And so, drop me a comment. Keep me updated. Let me know, and then maybe I'll read it the next time that we come out. So, one of the things that I want to do, is I want to start doing some restaurant and recipe, and just some plant-based either food or product reviews. So many of you who have been following me on My Better Living know that I am a plant-based eater. I've been plant-based for about three 3 years now. Um, and you can go back and look at some of my previous podcasts where I really kind of explain that there's varying levels of being a plant-based eater from complete street vegan to more of a flexitarian where you occasionally eat like maybe seafood or something like that. And then everything else in between. So I like to consider myself a whole food, plant based eater because that's what I eat 90% of the time, right? So I want to do this food review. So I haven't. I had not until recently. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, then you probably have heard of Seventh and Grove. It's located in, I believe, Ybor City. I had never been. I had heard great things about it, the food, the atmosphere. For the most part, I heard that it was a whole vibe, right? So I want to say 2 Fridays ago, I went out with a group and we went to Seventh and Grove. And so there's two sides to Seventh and Grove. There's more of a lounge bar side, and then there's the restaurant side. So we went to the restaurant side, and I'm always leery when I go to restaurants because I think that more restaurants are coming on board with having more plant-based options. Others are not. For some places, you can still only get salad and maybe some sides. I always tell people I can pretty much eat anywhere because if I go somewhere, I'm not going to fuss with anyone that's not a plant-based eater about where they want to eat. Because at the end of the day, there's always, at the very least, some sides or a salad. And if I know that there's a restaurant that I'm going to that doesn't have a variety of plant-based options, I'll either eat before I go and then maybe bite on something small like a side, or I'll get like a really nice salad, a really hefty salad, which is usually pretty nice in the side. So I do want to do a review on Seventh and Grove. I always like when I go to a restaurant and I'm pleasantly surprised by their plant-based offerings. So, Seventh and Grove, Ybor City. First off, I had a drink, and I actually had the. So, if you've been there and you've looked at the menu, if you haven't been there, the menu is, the names are really crazy. The drink menu are named after recording artists, and the food menu are named after songs. Most of them are hip hop songs, rap songs, culture songs. So when I first got there, I had a drink. I had the Mariah Moscow Mule, which was Jack Apple, ginger beer, cranberry juice, and fresh mint. Very, very good, very, very fresh. And it was a good drink. Sometimes you go somewhere and the drink is good, but it's not a good drink. You know what I mean when I say good drink, wink, wink. It was a very good drink. So I was asking, I always like to say, like, well, what's your popular drink? And apparently the Mariah Moscow Mule was their most popular drink until they introduced the Beyonce, which is Hennessy, lemonade, and champagne. So, it's Beyonce. You have to go big, add a little champagne. So that was the first. Um, as far as starters, so there were things on the menu that for those who are completely vegan and for those who may be vegetarian. So there were deviled eggs. Never seen deviled eggs on a menu ever. Deviled eggs that you can get with either fried chicken or you can get them with fried okra. So for my vegetarians that still eat um, eggs or things like that, that's an option. Deviled eggs with fried okra. We had the Sir Green Down. I actually had this, and it was fried green tomatoes. I'm not a fan of goat cheese. This comes with goat cheese, but it comes in a way that it's like goat cheese crumbles, so you can kind of move the goat cheese aside. This was very, very, very good. I had a wonderful time with this, and I really, really enjoyed the fried green tomatoes. Really enjoyed that. You could also get as a starter what they call jalapeno cornbread. So, I didn't see on the menu where they identified whether or not things were gluten free or not. So I will say that I'm not really sure, but jalapeno cornbread would be okay for those who are vegetarian that still eat eggs mixed in things and such. From the garden section seemed to be the section on the menu that had all of the um, plant-based foods, and of course you can pick and choose from the side. So from the garden section, of course, they had the salad. I actually had this, which was the slow cooked vegan gumbo that had tomatoes, okra, collards, celery, onions, bell peppers, black eyed peas over white rice. And that's called the Nolia clap. Now they actually have the loaded Nolia clap, which is the Nolia clap, but then they add the seafood into it. So it actually becomes like a real seafood gumbo. So you can get that either way. I had that. It was absolutely delicious. It was a great portion size, and I actually, took my food home with me for the next day. It was absolutely great. Sides, as far as sides, if you're a vegetarian, plant-based eater, they have garlic parmesan Brussels sprouts. I didn't try those, so I didn't ask whether or not um, the parmesan was optional. I'm thinking that it might be. Cajun rice, mashed potatoes, of course, French fries. Most places have French fries. Smothered veggies. Didn't try that either. Not sure what they're smothered in, but that was an option. Mac and cheese, if you're still a cheese eater, and Gouda grits. So those were some options. So that was Seventh and Grove. I would say that the food was very delicious, very good, great portion sizes, and great options for plant-based eater. I think I'm gonna give. So I have to come up with a scale, right? Because it's the first one I'm doing. So I need to give a scale of like, we're gonna say 0 to 10, right? With 10 being the most outstanding and zero. I don't like giving zeros. I'm gonna say one, right? Because you're not because if I eat something, it's not a complete waste, right? So I'll just say between 1 and 10. I would say I would give Seventh and Grove. I would probably give them a 6 or 7. I gave them a 6 or 7 because everything I ate was absolutely delicious. There isn't a huge variety of plant based. You kind of have pieces here and there. I would say if you're a very strict vegan, it might be a little bit difficult, with the exception of the Nolia clap, which is a vegan gumbo. So other things I think might have some eggs or cheese. So very vegetarian friendly, limited if you're a strict vegan. So I would probably give um, Seventh and Grove about a 6 or 7. So if you're ever in the Tampa Bay area, try them out. Fun times. I mean, it's for me, it's worth the drive for the food and the drink. So if you're splurging one weekend and you want to have a drink, some good eats, definitely a great place to go. So I'm gonna keep doing those because a lot of people, especially if they're newly plant based or they're thinking about going plant based, that's always the first question that I get. What do you eat? What are you eating? I do know that when I first became plant based, it was a struggle to um, tap into like the different kinds of food. Like my food options were like here when I ate meat, because meat seemed to be the main course of every meal. And so finding those options, and in my journey over the last 3 years, I've been to a lot of places, explored a lot of things. There's just some restaurants I'm just not that hyped to go to. Most restaurants I can find and I know what they'll add, what they'll take away. Some of them I'm not that hyped about going to. And so as we do this, I do want to put that out there for you guys and let you know what restaurants are hit or miss for someone who's trying to stick to a plant-based diet. So I definitely like that. Um, One of the things that has happened to me in the last couple months since I've um, left my job and sort of moved on to a different pasture is that I found myself with a little bit of extra time. Not a whole lot, just a little. Time is closing in on me. But I've made it a point that I wanted to start back reading books. I used to read books so avidly. Like, I really enjoyed reading books, and it just really got away from me. And so I really want to start back reading books. So we're going to talk a little bit about my November read. So, my November read is a book called You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. Let me give you a little screenshot of that. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akweke Emizi. I ordered this book. It came yesterday. I've started reading, and I would say so far, it just quickly jumps into the story very fast. We're talking, you know, mm, just hitting already on page one. So I can see why she's a New York Times bestselling author. Her bestselling book was The Death of Vivek Oji. So if you're in the mood for a book for the month of November, and I'm trying to do one a month, um, you made a death a fool. You made a fool of death with your beauty by Akweke Emizi. So that's what I'm reading this month, in case you wanted to know. All right, so upcoming events. We have some great upcoming events, and I do want to take some time out before I get out of here to let you know about some great upcoming events in the Tampa Bay area if you are here. So, last Friday, November 4th, there was He Say, She Say. For those of you who are familiar with He Say, She Say, it is the number one battle of the sexes discussion, hosted at Urban Drinkery, 2184 Ninth Avenue South. It features host Kiana with the Tampa Bay Breakfast Club, for those of you who are familiar with that. And He Say, She Say, this past weekend, coming back, I would say that it was absolutely fantastic. For those of you who are not familiar with He Say, She Say, He Say, She Say is a great meetup time for adults to share just conversation. We read some really great questions for the audience. And guess what? The audience is the judge and the jury. The audience gets to decide, you know, what do we do in this situation? Are we going left? Are we going right? What kind of understanding are we coming to? Great questions this past weekend. There were some questions about education and voting and cheating and side chicks and side dudes, and how to keep relationships spicy. No question is off limits. Everything is on the table, and it was a great turnout, great conversation. The next one is coming up November 18th. That is a Friday, and it will be going down at Urban Drinkery, 2184 Ninth Avenue South. That is 2184 Ninth Avenue South, and it's going to be hosted by Kiana. And so, shout out to Power Plug Radio. If you are interested in reserving a section, please visit www.powerplugradio.com. So, shout out to them for bringing that back. Other upcoming events, My Better Living. Health and Wellness is partnering with She Wins Totally and The Bird Cares to bring cocktails and conversations virtual series for women. I'm so excited about this virtual series. For those of you who know me, and for those of you who are wanting to know me, want to get to know me, are in the process of getting to know me, one thing that you will know about me is that I love a good discussion. I love a good talk. I love a good meeting of the minds. I like hearing how people think. I like hearing how people process information. So I'm all about that. So this conversation series called Cocktails and Conversation, a virtual series for women, will be um, Zoom. It will be a virtual conversation series where women can register. It's absolutely free, and you can sit with a group of women. You can sit by yourself. You can be in your car. Probably not in your car if you're going to have a cocktail, but pretty much you can listen to this anywhere, tune in anywhere. We have four great topics coming up, starting in December and going through the month of May for 2023. So, first up, we have sexual healing, gaining value and invalidation, and that's going to be hosted by the heiress, Miss Leslie Lightsey, and that is going to be on December 1st. We have the power of the pink. We're trying to keep it classy, right? So the power of the pink with Coffee Con, that will be in January of 2023. And I'm not a bitch or a hoe. Put some respect on it. That's going to be happening in March, and that's going to be hosted by Lola B. Morgan. And then finally, rounding out, we have I Am My Sister Keeper, and that is going to be hosted by Miss Erin McFarley, and that will be happening in May. I am Trey excited about this conversational series. It's really just meant to open dialogue among women. You can have a group of women together. You can all watch together. You can all chime in together. Bring your girlfriends, your daughters, mothers, sisters. So look out for that. Make sure you check on She Wins Totally and The Bird Cares, and also My Better Living's Facebook page and website, so that you can get all the deets on that, so you can register and be in place. I'm having such a great time with this right now, and I actually like the way this show really kind of fell together. We caught up, we had some motivational quotes, we reviewed my restaurant of the week, which was Seventh and Grove. I told you about what I'm reading, and at the end of the day, I told you about where you need to come back to so you can have more conversation with me. You can catch My Better Living every single Monday at 7:30 right here. You can watch it live on My Better Living Facebook, live on Power Plug Radio Facebook, or live on My Better Living YouTube. You can also go back and listen to past episodes of My Better Living on Spotify. This has been Nurse Shah. I'm really excited to be back. I can't wait to talk to you guys more. I have some great guests lined up that are going to be coming to talk to you about sustainable farming, plant-based eating. Plant-based eating is my jam, so more plant-based eating. Don't forget, very, very, very important, don't forget, tomorrow is election day. We are in a midterm election. I would be remiss if I did not tell you to please go out and exercise your right to vote. It's very important that you do that. A lot of people died and fought for your right to vote. So please go out and exercise that right. And I will see you next Monday right here. So bye bye. 1, 2, 3.